Hello everyone. I hope you are having a great day so far and you are healthy and happy. So the book that we are going to discuss today is Leaders, written by Warren Bennis and Burt Nanus. This book talks about four effective tools of leadership that will help you to take charge of whichever space and whichever capacity you are holding in your life and go for the best of it. So the book begins with how we mistake the definition of leadership, the mistaking the charge. So it says that leadership is a word on everyone's lips right now, where the young attack it and the old grow wistful for it. Parents have lost it and police seek it. Experts they claim it and artists spurn it while scholars want it. Philosophers reconcile it with authority and liberty, and theologians demonstrate its compatibility with conscience. If bureaucrats pretend they have it, politicians wish they did. But everybody agrees that there is less of leadership than there used to be. We also come to a notion that leadership has been broken into pieces around us, with different definitions swinging in from different voices. But if we look at the same time through history, it comes up with the names of individuals who have provided extraordinary leadership and risen to the challenges of their eras. So we have had leaders like Mahatma Gandhi or Franklin Delano Roosevelt who have built great nations. Then we also have individuals like Tom Watson or Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, whose leadership has built great organizations. Often, the enormousness of present day challenges and the pace of change they seem unaccompanied by great notions and the great people to implement them. So it is this void, this emptiness, like so many darknesses, that augur new leaders. And in this moratorium, new concepts of leadership have incubated. And with the emergence of great men and women, we can anticipate exciting new visions of power in the coming times. Even today, the need is ever so great for leaders, for new leaders to spring forth, because we have a chronic crisis of governance, that is, the pervasive incapacity of the organizations to cope with the expectations of their constituents. If there was ever a moment in history when a comprehensive strategic view of leadership was needed, not just by a few leaders in high office, but by a large numbers of leaders in every job, from the factory floor to the executive suite, from a McDonald's fast food franchisee to a law firm, this is certainly it. This is the moment. So, this book was written in the belief that leadership is the pivotal force behind successful organizations, and to create vital and viable organizations, leadership is necessary to develop a new vision of what they can be, and the organizations change towards that new vision. The new leader, which is what this book is all about, is one who commits people to action, who converts followers into leaders, and who may convert leaders into agents of change. And this is what the author refers to as transformative leadership. But before delving into the basic ideas of different aspects of leadership, The author tries us to draw our attention towards certain things, how leadership has evolved through a period of time. So he says that leadership competencies have remained a constant, but our understanding of what it is, how it works, and the ways in which people learn to apply it has shifted. So we do have the beginnings of general theory of leadership, like some come from history, some come from social research and from ruminations of reflective practitioners of religious ideas. But very little in common they have in their definitions of leadership. And further, the author tries to justify that folklore and reflective observation in the past are not enough except to convince us that leaders are physically strong and abnormally hard workers. You know. However, we are a little closer to understanding how and who people lead, but it was not as easy getting there. Decades of academic analysis have given us 500 odd definitions of leadership. Literally, thousands of empirical investigations of leaders have been conducted in surveys that are so many that we can hold count of. But still, there is no clear and unequivocal or a homogeneous definition for what distinguishes leaders from non-leaders, or effective organizations from the ineffective organizations. The definitions that are around us, they reflect fads or the latest fashions or the political tides and academic trends, but they do not always reflect reality, and sometimes they just reflect nonsense. So, leadership is, as once Brake said about art, he said that the only thing that matters in art is the part that cannot be explained. So that is also true of leadership. We were told that leaders are born. Through the events of history, we get to know that there are these great men who were born and whose inheritance and destiny made them leaders. So, no amount of learning or yearning could change your fate if you did not belong to that place where leaders are born. So, this view of leadership failed to explain the aspect of people who wanted to know and aspire to be leaders. Then came this idea of the Big Bang, where events could catapult certain ordinary individuals into extraordinary ones, and people looked up to them as leaders. So, like love, leadership continues to be something that everyone knows that it exists, but nobody can define it, because many other theories of leadership have come and gone, where some looked at the leader, some looked at the situation, but none has stood the test of time. The great man theory or the Big Bang theory are still inadequate to define leadership. And even so, in these days where power is conspicuous in its absence, powerlessness in the face of crisis, powerlessness in the face of complexity, with contradiction and polarization of thought and action, power has been sabotaged while a kind of pandemonium surges. Institutions have been rigid today, slothful or mercurial. Supposed leaders seem ignorant and out of touch, insensitive and unresponsive sometimes. And to all these, the solutions have been jerry-built or they have not built at all. So in this context of the vacuum that is existing in certain layers of every organization or great nations, the author tries to bring in his ideas about leadership and how people can take charge of the space where they are in. So I hope that this book aids and helps you in understanding leadership and also helps you make informed choices for the definitions that work for you, that help you in your day to day life. So, with that thought and with that hope, I would like to end this episode until I come next time. Have a great day and stay safe. Goodbye.